Hi, and welcome to Weekly World Climate Change News. Zuzana Kaputova, a lawyer and environmental activist from Slovakia who became famous after campaigning against a toxic waste dump, was elected the country's first female president on March 30th. Kaputova won the Goldman Environmental Prize for her 14-year fight against the dump. She argues that the battle taught her how institutions functioned and how they could be manipulated. And that is why her campaign focused on fighting corruption and more civility. Her victory is perceived as a counterweight to populist movements that have won elections recently in Central Europe. New York State lawmakers agreed to a ban on single-use plastic bags, becoming the second state in the United States to do so. The decision was part of a broader agreement that included other progressive measures like 3 hours off on election day for voting and a congestion pricing program in a part of Manhattan. The ban will go into effect on March 1st, 2020. The measure contemplates the option to change customers 5 cents for paper bags. While the ban is seen as a step forward to resource conservation, environmentalists argue that the paper bag fee must be mandatory, otherwise shoppers would simply use paper bags instead of reusable bags. Mosquitoes are among the most lethal animals in the world, carrying dangerous viruses or other organisms. They cause millions of deaths every year from infectious diseases such as malaria, dengue, Zika, chikungunya, and a few others. Climate change is expected to make them even deadlier. As the planet heats up, mosquitoes could survive winter and proliferate, causing an estimated billion or more new infections by the end of the century, according to a research published in the journal PLOS, Neglected Tropical Diseases. The study also predicted that regions previously unaffected by these diseases could become vulnerable because of the amenable climate. This month, corals in Lord Howe Island Marine Park, a World Heritage Site, began showing signs of bleaching. The 145,000-hectare marine park contains the most southerly coral reef in the world, in one of the most isolated ecosystems on the planet. Sustained heat stress has seen 90% of some reefs bleached, although other parts of the marine park have escaped largely unsected and have remained healthy and vibrant throughout the summer. A study published in Science Direct has shown the butterfly population has declined by 84% in the last 130 years, with scientists suspecting that the decline could even be larger. That decline is thought to be simply a symptom of an overall decline in all insect populations in the country. Habitat destruction due to industrial farming has been named the culprit, with similar studies in Britain and Germany also showing a drastic decline in insects' life. By 2050, Irish politicians plan to slash carbon emissions to net zero by setting limits and hiking carbon tax on fossil fuels to at least €80 for every ton of CO2 from the present €20 by 2030. The committee will create a Climate Action Council that will observe the government's progress in decreasing emissions. Canada is warming much faster than the rest of the world, according to a new report by Environment and Climate Change Canada. Canadian and Arctic temperatures have risen by 1.7 and 2.3 degrees Celsius, which is more than double the global average. The reason is not clear yet, but scientists suspect it is due to reflection from snow and ice, as well as a heating feed-drop loop due to the melting ice. Global experts and leaders on climate change and sustainable development met at the UN city in Copenhagen, Denmark from 1st till 3rd April 2019. Together, they discussed how to face the increasing urgency to limit global temperature rise to 1.5 Celsius, while accelerating climate action benefiting all people. Participants at the Global Conference on Strengthening Synergies between the Paris Agreement and the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development will strengthen the link between the climate agenda and the SDGs. The conference is a critical part of the UN's comprehensive review of climate action in 2019 and serves as a preparatory expert group meeting for SDG 13, as SDG 13 will be examined in depth at this year's high-level political forum on sustainable development happening in July. This were Weekly World Climate Change News. We hope you will join us next week.